Thank you for starting your day with us here on Sunrise. I'm Jason Hackett. Alicia has the morning off. We got a lot to get to, including the latest on State Senator Nicole Mitchell's trial. Audrey Russo is covering that from the newsroom this morning. But first, let's get to Ren in the backyard with a look at our weekend forecast.
Good morning. You're looking at a pretty pleasant weekend forecast. It's dry through the weekend. There's just a slight chance for a couple spotty showers overnight Saturday, but most of the weekend's dry. Today is kind of a transition forecast for us from the cooler temperatures in the 70s over to low 80s and upper 70s tomorrow. We have some spotty showers possible by the afternoon, more so late afternoon, and evening scattered storms by 6 o'clock. Those are developing. By 7, we should have some storms in the metro. Dry weekend forecast and comfortable temperatures hold, but next week it gets pretty toasty, so enjoy the cooler temperatures. We're in the low 60s and 50s right now. Rain's filling in across northern Minnesota, and it's going to be a soggy forecast to the north. As that low moves in and tracks farther eastward, storms are going to fire up closer to the low, so that's why they're later today. 75 for the high here today, and we're looking at winds now out of the southeast. It'll be a little bit muggier, not muggy, but not fall-like rather, as we head into tonight. Michelle?
Well, hey there, Ren. Here's a live look over Highway 169. This right here is in Elk River. I've been telling you about a crash just beyond this camera that you might see if you are traveling south. You might see it somewhere near 225th Avenue. Meanwhile, take a look at your commute right here on this big map. Pretty quiet, pretty typical for your Friday morning commute. I'll have a lot more about your weekend closures coming up next. Jason.
All right, Michelle, on traffic duty this morning. We appreciate it. Thank you. Our top story as we come on air, the burglary trial of State Senator Nicole Mitchell could go to the jury today. That's after Mitchell spent hours on the stand testifying in her own defense. Audrey Russo is in the newsroom breaking down the testimony and what's left to do before the jury gets the case here. Audrey.
Jason, the defense has 2 more witnesses this morning, and then closing arguments are expected after that. And then the jury will be left to decide whether they believe Senator Mitchell's testimony from yesterday or what she told police during her arrest last April. On the stand, Mitchell told the jury she broke into her stepmother's Detroit Lakes house to check on her. She said her stepmother has worsening Alzheimer's disease symptoms and that she's dealing with increased paranoia. But in the video of her arrest, the Democratic state senator, dressed in all black, told police that she was trying to retrieve a few of her father's belongings. Now, the prosecution highlighted the 2 different stories during the cross-examination.
In my mind, I couldn't say any of the truth because she would have freaked out and it would have made it worse.
You repeatedly said you were there to take your dad's things, even when Carol wasn't present. Correct?
Correct.
Now, the burglary charges here require the prosecution to prove Mitchell not only broke into her stepmother's house, but also intended to commit a crime inside, like theft. Jason?
Really fascinating, really emotional testimony. This has been an interesting case to watch. Audrey, thank you so much for that breakdown there. Taking you live to the White House this morning, where President Trump is expected to sign his $9 billion spending cuts package into law. While you were sleeping, House Republicans gave it the final stamp of approval with 216 votes. The package is part of Trump's cost-cutting Department of Government efficiency efforts. About $8 billion will be taken from foreign aid programs, and another $1.1 billion will be cut from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which helps fund NPR and PBS. So all of this as the president is dealing with a new health concern, chronic venous insufficiency. The White House saying that's why his ankles sometimes look swollen. Amy Kiley explains.
The veins really aren't doing their job. They're not returning the blood back to the heart, and that's why you see swelling.
Doctors say the condition isn't overly concerning, so long as it doesn't lead to or indicate more serious issues. The White House says Trump's medical team tested for those extensively.
All results were within normal limits.
Experts say Trump's age is a risk factor. He turns 80 next year and is set to become the nation's oldest sitting president in history at the end of this term.
If a person is older, a person is overweight, if a person is sitting or standing for prolonged amounts of time, you can get chronic venous insufficiency.
Medication is a possible treatment, but doctors recommend lifestyle changes, elevation of the legs, and compression socks.
You're just basically trying to move that fluid up.
The White House also acknowledges bruising on Trump's hand. Health analysts say it's probably unrelated and unconcerning.
The most likely cause, I think, is exactly what the White House said. irritating the hand over and over again, especially in someone who's on blood thinners. It can lead to a hand looking like that.
Time now 6:05. Former Vikings great Adrian Peterson back for a court proceeding in just a few hours on a DWI charge. Peterson was arrested in April on a 4th-degree DWI charge in Richfield. A Minnesota state trooper says Peterson was driving 83 in a 55-mile-an-hour zone on southbound Highway 77. The arrest happened hours after the Minnesota Vikings draft party. KARE 11 shot video of Peterson attending that event. And we know this morning that Vikings wide receiver Jordan Addison has pleaded no contest to a lesser charge after his drunk driving arrest last summer. In a plea bargain, Addison is convicted of misdemeanor reckless driving while using alcohol or drugs. Last July, officers found him asleep behind the wheel on an interstate near LAX airport